Hey folks, I'm up in the office today, which is a little uncommon for video recording, but um, I picked up this neat little lithium ion drill from Rigid, and of course it doesn't work, but um, it has it's actually lithium ion. There's tons of NiCad, nickel cadmium drills that people get rid of, and it's like, I don't want that. I don't like nickel cadmium. And so I am curious to see if I can get this guy working, because he's a neat, he's got a clutch and high speed and low speed, and decent looking thing, and I don't know much about the Rigid brand, but it looks pretty sturdy. Oh, it's got a little LED there too to light up whatever it is you're drilling, I guess. So the first thing I think I want to do is see if I can put 18 volts into it and if it will actually turn. For that I have a 26 volt battery that I made up just for testing purposes like this, and then a little power regulator, does volts and amps. So make sure those aren't touching, because it's always on when you plug it in, which is kind of dumb, but oh well. Alright, so it's at 1.3 volts right now. Let's see, I'm going to crank it up to 18. Let's see, I can look at the, oh yeah, 22.3 volts, so it's got plenty of voltage in it for 18 volts. So there it is. Okay, the battery says that this side's positive, that side's negative. Okay. Okay, positive, negative. Okay, go ahead and turn it on. Okay, 18 volts. Alright. So we know that the drill works, and that's all I want. Just make sure the drill works. So the drill works. So the culprit is likely the battery, which is not surprising at all. So set that out of the way there. Positive goes there. Negative goes there. Ooh, and we are getting nothing. Nothing at all. Alright, well, we got some security Torx screws, and I just happen to have a security Torx screw set here. So this one, let's try that one. Nope, that's too big. Let's try the next one. I think it's Torx. It's the one with the little indents. It's not like the Allen key one. Is that still too big? Alright, try with size smaller. Oh, there we go. Fits perfect. Now, where is my bit turning wand? Do I have one? Should have one. Oh, well, I have, let's see, what do I have? Okay, I have this guy. Wow. I don't think that's gonna work. We can try it. Nope, it's not gonna work. For one thing, that's way too short. Let's try. Oh, there we go. Oh, guess it opens this way. Okay, well, there's some white crap on the board here. I just like showing off my little tools. No one ever sees them, and no one ever cares. So, if anyone's watching the video interested in getting an old drill working, you have to look at my tools, or click on something else to watch. That's still pretty snug. So, let's see. How about some gentle prying? Oh, well, there you go. Whilst hoping I don't touch anything conductive. Ooh! Purdy! Look at that. Mollies. Oh, that's cool. Don't see those very often. Those are made in Canada. Uh-oh. That one's lumpy. There's some discoloration in the foam there, and there. What do you want to bet? That it might actually be the cells that are bad and not the circuit board. But look at that. There's this rubber sheet here cradling all those cells, and then they've got this little foam, protective foam on either side of the cells themselves. That's unfortunately it's adhesive, so I'm probably going to end up destroying it in order to, yeah, that foam is not going to survive. I can put new foam in. I've got foam. But yeah, they put some thought into keeping this, keeping these batteries nice and secure. So that's good of them. Okay, so let's get our multimeter and see if we have any voltage in this particular cell. So, it's positive, negative, 0.01, 0 to 0.01 volts, so that one is dead. Oh, it has 0.05, so it's slightly better. Alright. Yeah, so that one has no volts at all. 0.0, looks like we had a 0.07 there for a second. How about this one? Oh, 0.34. Wow, anything under 2.5 is bad. But that's the highest cell we've got so far. Yeah, one thing I didn't try, I know, see, so we know the volts, but how many amps does it use? Probably doesn't say, but we'll need to know that if we're going to buy new cells. Nope, doesn't say how many amps it uses, so we'll have to plug it in and do our best to provide enough power. Oh, one thing I could do is if I can find these Moly cells on the battery database on the forum, Second Life Storage forum, I can look up how many amps each cell can provide. Well, I got it off. Unfortunately, I tore up the conductive pad right here, so I don't know if that'll be repairable, but working. I don't know if I trust the board, though. I mean, but let's get these. I decided to go ahead and desolder it because I figured it'd be easier to get them off this plastic thing. I'm hoping that once they're disconnected, they will come right off. That one did. It really should have come off as a unit. But yeah, that guy right there is so corroded that the connector here is broken. Just before in the tester, and that was taking current, but the voltage is not changing at all. Those two jumped up to 4.2 volts really fast. In fact, oh yeah, they're both trying to decide if they're finished, but yeah, they're jumping between finish and charge again. So I say those have no capacity. That one, I'm not sure what's going on with that. This one is actually taking some, well, it's taking a tiny amount of current, and it's very, very slowly increasing voltage. That's actually what you want to see. So, yeah. Well, it's been a while, but I finally made a little progress. Let's see, I went ahead and removed all the excess bits sticking out here that we don't need. We just now just have the positive and negative. I ground a bunch of this stuff away to make a little extra room. And I found out, in taking some measurements, no matter what I do, this circuit board is not going to sit on top of the cells, even if I take the foam out. Even if it sits directly onto the cells, it's still not quite going to shut. So yeah, so I cut that piece of whatever it was, that little structural bit. I cut that out down to here to make some more room, and I think it turned out pretty good. Let's test the dead cells in there. They're not, they're no good for anything else. Alright, so now we've got more room in this area, in these two areas here, and then we've got that space right there. And my thought is, I'm hoping to fit the circuit board right about there. Yeah, it's going to be tight. I'm going to have to take this connector off and connect the balance wires directly to these little pins on the board here. But yeah, so the idea is if that sits straight up and down like that, then I should be able to close this fellow all the way shut, like so. And I should hopefully still have room to put the power and balance connectors up in here, and I'm kind of hoping to have them towards the side so I can keep that little vent. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'm pretty sure that it's only meant to vent during charging, not discharging, because when it's in use, this gets covered up. That vent gets covered, completely covered by the drill. So, so that kind of makes me wonder if you get a proprietary charger, what is it? What amp? How many amps is it trying to shove into these batteries? So I looked at the new cells that I bought, and they are rated for 4 amps maximum charge. Now I certainly don't need to charge them that high, but that's what they're rated for, and they're rated for 20 amp continuous discharge. Although I think 12 is going to be plenty, and this board will allow both of those things. Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff done. So I got this balance cable made up from this little tiny connector to the standard connector. Let's see, I'm trying to think, where did I leave off? Well, let's open it up and I'll show you where I am. Just barely managed to fit everything in there, but I haven't got it all glued down or anything yet. Okay, so let's see. I cut the little foam pad to shape here. Got all the batteries, or all the cells, soldered together in series, and then I have balance leads to each junction there, and then the balance leads go to the BMS, but they also go to this little external port, which then leads to my really great balance cable. And what else? It's pretty crowded, unfortunately, but I managed to get everything to fit. I went in with a Dremel and removed a whole bunch of material, mostly so that there would be enough room for the circuit board, the wires, and the little posts here for the screws. What else? Okay, so from the BMS board, power negative goes from the negative most terminal of the battery into the board, and then that's negative battery goes into the board, and the negative power goes to the negative terminal on the on the housing, because that's where it connects up with the drill. And then positive, from the positive most of the battery just goes right straight to the positive terminal on the housing, because everything is controlled from the BMS board, controls everything through the negative. It doesn't need to connect to the positive. Some BMSs do, some BMSs don't. It just depends on what you get. So I was able to get all those little wires soldered onto this connector and got them all shrink wrapped so they don't, short. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of room with this thing open. The wires are pretty short, and I can't get that connector in there with this thing wide open. But I can't make the wires any longer. I'm already having trouble fitting everything in the box. So the idea is, once it's done, I won't have to open it again. So the priority is getting the box closed, which means shorter wires. So for now, this is plugged in. Eventually what I'll do is super glue that flush, and then once the super glue is set, I'll probably put a gob of hot glue in there to kind of help with structural support and to keep the wires from moving around or anything. And then, okay, so that's the balance lead. Then you have to have the bulk charger. The bulk, the negative most and positive most has to connect up to a charger somehow. So I've got this little guy right there. Also needs to be super glued in, but for now he's just sitting there because I've got the other end plugged in, and that holds him still. But I've got the positive to the positive, negative to the negative. It all works. let's see, and then I've got this. I've shortened the foam pad here a little bit, but that fits in there okay and makes sure that nothing comes into contact with the battery or the cells, the individual cells. And what else? There are a few little soldering points in the back of the board here, so I went ahead and put some electrical tape over those just to make sure they don't press into the jacket of this cell and make it a short. I got the bulk charging port and the balance port super glued in there, and then I put a bunch of hot glue in there just to hold things still during reassembly and all that. And it works, by the way. I don't know if I showed you, but I don't think I did. But yeah, it works. It works great. Setting 2 and setting 1. And yeah, it works awesome. So I've been using this on some of my downstairs projects here, and then my old one is upstairs with those projects. But anyway, so now I can plug that in there. I can plug this in here, and you can see that we are at 20.36 volts. And if I plug the balance cable in here, there we go. Balance cable goes on, and we are reading 5S. They are pretty darn close to fully charged, and they're pretty closely balanced too. And then I went and bought a 6th cell for this guy. This is one of those electric screwdrivers that is kind of a gutless wonder and doesn't stay charged very long. At one point, it has 3 nickel cadmium AA's in it originally. It had, and they're in series, so it's 4.5 volts. And then when they're depleted, it's more like 3 volts, something like that. And this says 3.6 volts, so that's probably nominal. But anyway, that's an excellent voltage range. It's really close to one 18650 lithium ion. So I took the 3 cells out. Well, I replaced them at one point with new ones. The new ones worked okay. It had enough power for what it is, and it did what it was supposed to do. The problem is you put it in a drawer for a week, fully charged, and then when you come back to use it, it's depleted, because of the self-discharge of the cells. And then you have to plug it in and let it charge for 8 hours. It's very inconvenient. So with the lithium ion, of course, they don't self-discharge, so this hasn't been charged in several weeks now. But yeah, what I did is I went ahead and bought a 6th cell, 20 amp cell, just like the other 5. I just went ahead and bought 6, and I put one in here. I dremeled it out and chiseled out a whole bunch of extra plastic so that it would fit, and I actually replaced the barrel connector in there so we can hook it up to a regular connection here. And 4.93 volts. That's weird. Yeah, so I can actually plug it in and put it on my charger and charge it as a single cell. So now it works really nice. It has a fair amount of power thanks to that 20 amp battery instead of 3 little NiCad cells. We have that nice strong 20 amp lithium ion cell in there, and like I said, the voltage range is about the same. And the best part is I can set this down and not use it for a month, and then when I suddenly say, hey, I got a thing for that little screwdriver, that would be perfect, pick it up, and guess what? It works. It hasn't self-discharged. So anyway, that's kind of a project that didn't really deserve its own video, but I thought I'd add it to this other video since it was the exact same cell that I used in this one. Okay, well, it looks like my wife has decided to vacuum now, so anyway, this was a fun little project and to figure out how to do. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.